Welcome to the OTA podcast where we discuss everything performance training. I'm Coach Chris Barnard. Let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back to the OTA podcast. I'm your host, Coach Chris Barnard. And for today's video, what I want to talk about is mainly for performance coaches or gym owners or people in the coaching business in general. And one of the number one things that I see missed on within a coaching business is actually creating buy-in for their service and having a methodical process to reiterate that buy-in after the sale is made. The way that we do that is through our onboarding process. And I think that this is a crucial step that some coaches overlook, but working with the coaches that we work with, once we start to instill an onboarding process of their client or athlete, I tend to notice that the athlete gets extremely bought in. Buy-in creates better effort each and every session. More effort each and every session is going to lead to better results for your athletes. So you have to look at everything that you do holistically. It's not just I was able to nail that great session. It's a dance, it's an art. Coaching is an art, and you have to look at it as a totality, right? So what I wanted to kind of go over is our exact onboarding process and how we create buy-in right off the bat. So we go through our sales process, we get our athlete or parent to agree to committing to our services. Let's pretend it's for the summer off season. First thing that we want to be able to do is we want to draw a needs analysis from the athlete, right? We want to get into the mind of the athlete. And this is usually typically a series of questions, right? Or a questionnaire that we utilize when we go to sit down with the athlete. And we only do this after they've committed to paying. You might have these kind of talks before, kind of warm them up for the sale. But the biggest thing is post-sale is we really want to drive home and get into what makes that athlete tick, right? So we have a series of questions as far as their play on the field or court, right? We might ask things of like, from a perspective like, what's your strength on the court or field? What's your weakness from their perspective, right? We try to ask things, obviously the basic things, what sport, what position, age, level, things like that. And then we get into obviously what they interpret themselves as far as like, what are your strengths and weaknesses? But the more important thing that we get into is trying to understand where that athlete wants to go. What's that hairy, audacious goal, right? For me, it always usually sums up, even when I was in middle school, I clearly had it in my mind I wanted to play in the NFL, right? So for these young athletes, a lot of them are scared to pull that out. So it's our job, right, to shift their belief and believe in them, provide hope so that they can share those goals with us. So through a series of questions, we really want to get deep. Right now on surface, it might be going from a bench player or role player to a starter. It might be going from JV to varsity. It might be going to earning a Division I scholarship in the SEC. It might be going from a collegiate player who is at a lower level school, once again, the transfer portal, bump up, ultimately get drafted, right? All the inner workings in between is find out what that big, hairy, audacious goal is at the top, and then you want to reverse engineer that, and you want them to verbally speak it out while you write it down. I can't stress enough how important this is, because the next step is you have to be able to continue to kind of build rapport and talk with them. And it might not be in that particular session, it should come naturally, but throughout your training, right, we always want to tie back to the outcome that they want to be able to see. So you have to instill and you have to believe in your athletes. And when they notice that you believe in them, they will believe back in you. So I know it's a little bit woo-woo, it's a little bit more esoteric, but I can't stress enough from a psychological standpoint how important it is from a belief system to believe in your athletes, pull that deep down desire that they have for playing the game out of them, and then believe in them so that you're both on the same page of where we want to go. reverse engineer it down to the easiest first step that we need to do for that off season, and then build upon it. This also builds retention and lifetime value. What's up, coaches? Real quickly, let me go ahead and introduce you to Performance Coach U certification. Now, this is the certification / course that I put together for coaches who want to train athletes and not only get results, but also maximize profits in the private sector. The problem that I saw with a lot of these courses and certifications out there for coaches was that they provided a lot of information and not a lot of application. So I wanted to pull back the covers over 10 plus years of experience and show you the ins and outs of actually being in the trenches so that you get maximum results while also scaling your business. So if you're interested in this, go ahead and check out the link down below and you can get more information. The second thing that I talk about is you want to show them the path. So for me, right, what the number one thing that I do next is I give them an example or a story of somebody similar in their shoes. It might not even be the same sport. I might tell them, hey, we worked with a sophomore last year or 5 years ago. Similar thing. Wasn't even on varsity, was sitting the bench. We were able to develop them over the next 3 years. Next thing you know, they're starting in varsity. They earned a Division I scholarship. This can be you. I'm reiterating to them, whatever it might be, I'm tying it back to a testimonial or story from my previous experience to allow them know that I know the path. I have the solution to your problem, right? And I do that by being able to show proof that I've done it before. So these are extremely important talk tracks that we do on our onboarding process that from my perspective, again, it's being able to create buy-in. Now that we get through the psychological side of things, then what we do is we sit down and we go through a series of performance testing, right? And through that performance testing, this allows us to build our needs analysis for the athlete, right? We might get certain measurements on their acceleration, their top speed, single leg broad jump for their horizontal force. We might do a lateral broad jump, vertical jump. Depending on the athlete, the sport, we have different measurements that we tend to track. And then from there, what we could do is build a bigger picture. And so then we put this into a database and we create a full assessment deliverable that after that assessment, we can hand off to the parent and athlete, right? This establishes exactly where they are at, exactly where they need to go, where we want to go. And then basically we jot down notes based off their strengths, weaknesses, and then their overall goals. By handing that to them, we reaffirm with them that you and I are both on the same page of what we're trying to get out of this. And we have the solution to your problem. And now it is time to get to work. So for me, I'm I want to know any work that's done for me, any service that's provided to me. I not only want to know the outcome and what can I expect, but I also want to know and understand the pathway. And part of that too is a little bit of educational piece of how we're going to get them there, which is our unique proposition, right? What is our method of how we're going to deliver that? And so these are all things that we deliver in that package. So again, I think the biggest thing from an onboarding perspective is you have to clearly educate. You can't just say to take it a step further, you can't just say, okay, we're going to train, right? We're going to get active. We're going to create activity. It's no, I know exactly where you're at. I know exactly where you want to be at long-term, midterm, and short-term, how I'm going to execute it if you execute and commit to this program. That alone creates so much buy-in. Not only does it get better results, it keeps your athletes on longer. It retains them for a lifetime. We have kids in here still that we've had from middle school. I still work with kids that I work from 8th grade all the way up to the professional levels now because of this simple strategy that I use. I take our time on, I spend the time, even if it's an hour in the beginning when you onboard them, it will go a long ways and none of that's in vain. And you will consistently be able to produce better athletes because of the buy-in factor. So hope that helps. Just wanted to kind of rant and share that with you guys a little bit. Hopefully you're doing some kind of onboarding process and so that you can utilize it to retain your clients longer. Talk to you guys next time.